welcome back to the Fatherhood. I'm Chad the Dad. I got my guy Pete Rock.
What's going on, man? Missed you, buddy. Look like you got a little rosy cheeks, some sun on your cheeks there.
Man, we've been in the streets, man. 7 days at the beach. Very overwhelming to be a dad taking your kids to the beach, but we survived. But yeah, it's been a while. We've had a lot of people asking us about the podcast, where we've been, but July 4th holiday, we both had a few trips around the country to the beach, seeing some family, a lot of things going on. So how are you feeling?
Good, man. We stopped at the beach too. My old man came up from Texas this most recent weekend. Weekend before that, I was in New York seeing my other family, or my family. But yeah, a lot of family last couple of weeks. It's been good, man. Been out in the sun quite a bit, not showing it, but be all right.
But you are showing those guns, though. Those guns are out today. I mean, we might have to put a warning on this episode with the guns being out.
That's right. Holding. Hacking.
But no. Love to see it.
Internet issues this week.
What's that?
We're going to try and go no internet issues this week.
I know, no internet issues. Speaking of internet issues, we had our internet line cut 2 days ago by a third party. We saw some guys digging around the corner. We're like, this looks like they're going to tear a gas line. And sure enough, we had no internet for about 24 hours, which might as well have been 3 weeks the way it felt with no internet at the house. So yeah,
you can always call it too. When you just know when somebody's digging in your front yard, man, like twice that's happened to me. Both times I'm like, something's going down. Gas line one time. Then my neighbor's gas line again, dude. Don't dig. Call 811.
Every time, yeah. 811. That's your friend. Trust me. Well, no, I think we're gonna switch it up a little bit this week. We're gonna jump right into what's trending. We got some good articles to read. Want to kind of jump right into that and talk about some viral stories, some other things. Get Pete's opinion, since he is not usually on the internet. So let's jump right into that. So first one. I think this might be the most relatable to us, but it's about a dad, Pete, who finally lost his patience. So dad tosses child's Nintendo Switch from a moving car, shocking the internet. And his quote was, "It felt pretty great."
Was it the throwing of the Switch or like making an impact on the internet is my question. Because I would tell you what is going to be my great feeling after that. I feel it.
So I'll give you a little background.
Let's hear it.
So they were traveling 60 miles per hour. Dad was in the car. There's 13-year-old son. He's a father of 5. It said U.S., did not say which state. So I'm not sure where this gentleman is located, but it's a pretty funny video of him telling this story. I guess he told the son, warned him repeatedly of disrespectful behavior. After a while, the kid wasn't, I don't even think he was playing the Switch. He just was like, "I'm going to throw your Switch out the window." And the kid was like, "No, you're not." And he said he threw it like a Frisbee right out the window. And he said it felt amazing to throw it out the window. And his advice throughout the video, at the very end of the video, was that you should throw more electronics out the window when your kids aren't listening to you. So
literally throw it out the window. Disrespect, man. I mean, that is one thing that can certainly send a video game console flying, right? And Switch is the best one to do. I mean, you got, your other handhelds, but Switch probably gets some good distance, especially at 60 miles an hour. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What do you do? What do you do when you see that and you drive by? You're like, because it's going to be like, what was that thrown out the window? Obviously got 2 bright controllers on each end. Like, do you stop? Do you get it? But I can imagine that it felt pretty great, honestly. I have been tempted, and probably have threatened maybe how this to go right out the window. But man, I mean, that's got to feel really good. And I don't think I would feel like after that road trip was done, I'm curious to know the dynamics inside that Winnebago. But, I bet he doesn't have any regret. I bet there's no regret. Now, hopefully the message was heard, and the kid hopefully has a, PlayStation at home. Maybe he can go get away with. But yeah, dude, that is.
So I do believe the kid has spoken. The kid agreed to be less disrespectful to his dad, they did go back and retrieve the switch. So they have the switch, and it actually still works. Even they had to kind of piece it back together, they said, but it actually still works. I mean, first of all,
okay,
yeah, go ahead.
I'm picturing, Jack Black driving down the highway with Max or whatever his name is, Ron Burgundy's dog, sending it out the window, or it hitting the concrete and rolling pieces. Controllers are flying. You're like, that was a switch. That was definitely a switch controller that hit our windshield. And the kids were like, "What, Dad? Where?" Like, it's not going to hit it again, but yeah, that's what I'm imagining. But it sounds like he tossed it in some grass, maybe.
They didn't say, but you got to think it had at least have a lucky bounce or two. If you tossed it like a frisbee, maybe it must have hit some. Have you ever threatened a punishment to your kids, then realized maybe you went a little too far?
Yes. Do I remember what it was?
Yeah.
No. I've got multiple Barbie dream houses in this house of mine. I've got a whole hood of Barbies. Lord knows what I've said. I don't threaten my kids or anything like that, but I'll be like, yeah. I mean, I'm trying to think, what would I have tossed out the window? Oh, the tablet, maybe. Sometimes my girls can't even go 5 minutes in the car. One of them will bring the tablet, and then it's a fight over the tablet. Like, it's my turn. I'm like, we got 5 minutes. What are you going to do with a tablet with multiple turns? And I want to throw that out the window, but I'm still paying monthly for the service for it, so I'm not throwing it. It's right here. But that would probably be the one thing I did threaten to throw out a window. God, I wish I could go back and figure out which was the most absurd, obnoxious threat. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that even, the kids would be like, "Sure, Dad, you're going to do that." Like, all right, yes, I am. I'm not. But I wonder what that would be.
I would say I've threatened.
Yeah, that's it.
I was going to say I've probably threatened to throw every single thing my kids own away at some point, because the tablet is probably number one, and we try to limit that to a certain extent. The tablet would probably be close, but we just normally just like, no tablet today. And we've recently started a 3-strike policy over the summertime. So it's, hey, strike 1, strike 2, and you get to strike 3 for a day. That means no screens the next day. So no tablets, no Switch, no PlayStation 5. So
something so simple.
We've started that in the past week or two, and it has actually taken off pretty well.
How many strikes?
His crayon out to take the note today.
How many strikes?
3 strikes. 3 strikes. 3 strikes and you're out. I didn't know what happened when we got 3 strikes. This was my wife's idea. And I said, what happened? Do they have to go sleep outside, like 3 strikes and you're out, like out the door? Or is this like just 3 strikes in general? So it is just repercussions the next day. It's been kind of working, kind of not, but it's been they at least understand, and there's at least a little accountability around here.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a good idea. The 3-strike rule works most of the time in baseball. But you could also think of like a card rule, right? You got the yellow card that carries over. You know what I'm saying? So that's another option.
Right.
So three strikes don't work. You go yellow, you go red, and then you don't get the tablet for the next day. But that's a good idea. I've got a lot of strikes to give with all the kids that are in my home and then come through it. So I'll have to figure out a system for me. But yeah, man, it's hard, dude. It's hard to take stuff away and threaten to throw stuff away, because you're punishing yourself, and then that's, like, I'm going to take this tablet away and you're not going to do it. Or like, and then you're going to be up my butt, so bored, don't know what to do. Dad can, all the time, when sometimes it's like nice to just, I got to do this shit. Here, you take this tablet. But so it can be, it can be tough both ways, but it's got to happen. Like you got to do what you got to do, man. 3 strikes.
So yeah, I'd say the big winner though, obviously probably Nintendo. I mean, shout out to them, 60 miles per hour on the highway and survived and still works. I don't know if giving it right back to your kid really solves it, but I am sure it felt great. But going from one expensive item getting thrown out a window to another expensive item that was purchased, one of the stars of the World Cup, everybody's favorite, including my 5-year-old daughter's favorite player, Erling Haaland. I don't know if you saw what he brought back from his trip to America or not, but he brought home a taxidermy raccoon that
it's
is
a taxidermy raccoon.
And it also includes a liquor. It is mounted with a liquor bottle. I don't know if you can see that very well. How much do you think Erling Haaland paid for said raccoon mounted liquor bottle trophy that he is carrying off his airplane?
Hard to figure out what bottle that is. I should know it, having served millions. Taxidermy raccoon. God, here we go. $555.
You're closer than I would have been, but it was $750 purchased from a Western store in Dallas. And he joked online that it followed him home. Obviously,
Dude, raccoons. I feel like raccoons are like in my life a lot. You know, things happen in threes, and now this is the third raccoon that's come into my day in my world in like the last 4 days. One of them was picking up Resident Evil again and playing that a little bit of Raccoon City. But yeah, a taxidermy raccoon. I have found out about raccoons that. Do you know what their strongest sense is?
I do not.
Their sense of touch outdoes everything. So when you see them handling food, they have senses in their touch beyond what we have as humans. So when you see them handling their food like this, they are finding out about it if it's safe to eat it. They are like extremely smart. So I've actually listened to some strangely enough, I lit raccoon facts or something, somehow, some way I came across it and I was listening to it and I was like, stop it. Their sense of touch has evolved over time. And it's wild. Yeah, man. They're called, babies are called.
You would put this raccoon in your house then? Would you, if you had a $750 raccoon, would you put that in your house? And, where would you mount that? Would you put that back there behind you?
I don't know if I'd put it in my house. It's just driving me more to want to get a raccoon. But I don't need any more pets.
You want the live raccoon in the house.
So raccoons, like, they're very intelligent, believe it or not. So it would be kind of cool. You know, I mean, you fantasize about having all sorts of crazy animals. What if I had a tiger or a liger? But like a raccoon, after I'm hearing all these facts, I'm getting fired up. I'm like, we could do a raccoon. We did a cat. We do that. Teach it to go outside. But I don't know if I'd put any sort of taxidermied animal in my house, man. Something about looking into its eyes and knowing it should probably be in the earth. Going back to the universe might be. I don't think I could look it in the eye. I don't think I could. I don't think I'd put it anywhere. I'd probably put it in Pete's room. And then
I think it'd be a little rough to have that. The liquor bottle does add a nice touch to it for some reason. I don't know why.
You think it adds a nice touch? I feel like there are so many other things that it could be doing. But now I'm drawing a blank on which ones I want to be holding. A light bulb I think would be cooler. And you flip a switch, turn that bad boy on. I don't know. Maybe that's something that can be mass produced. It can't. But yeah, liquor bottle. It's not just a taxidermied raccoon. That is the thing. So
that is quite the American souvenir. I mean, can you think of something that's more American of a souvenir outside of like a bald eagle head or something?
Yeah, I would think it's like fast food that may last the trip back to New York, Norway. But
speaking of that, have you seen and I didn't have this story queued up, but I was reading it earlier today, how much ranch dressing has just been the hit of the whole World Cup for all the international folks?
That was big, like right off the bat. And honestly, like I was out of ranch. Nobody eats ranch in my house. And I went and I got some more Hidden Valley because, like ketchup, you know, you got it. There's only one brand really.
Yeah.
So I got some of that. And then, you know, my niece came over from Texas, and she had a little bit of ranch for their pizza. So we cracked it open, and just as good as I remember. Not as good as blue cheese, but
Yeah.
Hidden Valley.
I'm definitely more of a blue cheese guy myself, but yeah, Hidden Valley has been one of the stars. They were saying how the airports were stocking up on ranch so people could get it through, because TSA was saying, hey, you need to put your ranch dressing in your checked baggage. So for those who don't, because they don't, so they were selling it after you get through security and loading up all the airports so they can take it and then take it back home. Because I did not know ranch dressing, it was out of made in Alaska, I believe, and I just didn't realize how big of a thing how U.S. based it is. And yeah, I mean, people are loving ranch dressing. So I guess that ranch dressing and taxidermied raccoons.
And also, Hidden Valley came out with ranch. You know how they do like the sriracha keychains or something? Hidden Valley started producing like 4.2 ounce bottles of ranch, so they could be taken on the plane. Yeah, that's a quick turnaround in production. I wonder what that boardroom meeting was like. Imagine getting fired up over that. It's crazy. Anyway, ranch executives.
So, I mean, those two stories a little bit more fun. Third story I got for you, a little more serious, but I felt like it needed to be talked about. I think it kind of, not only did it happen here locally in Raleigh, but happened across the country. And then obviously being fathers and kind of the whole point of the podcast, got to talk about some of these type of stories. So a little more serious, but this was happening on July 4th weekend. And I don't know how much you've heard about this, but there is a new trend called teen takeovers. And this led to fights and gunfire here in Briar Creek, which is 3 miles from my house, Glenwood South, where you used to work and I used to hang out on July 4th weekend. I don't know. Have you heard any of these stories, and are you familiar with kind of what happened? I got some more details.
I did hear about it, and I've thought about it a little bit. And, you know, again, with the headlines and how how you want to paint things, you know, like it's 8,000 kids and police underestimated them, probably didn't, you know, staff enough. And I'm not knocking the police. I'm just saying, like, just didn't know what to expect. Even though you got 8,000 teens out there, and scientifically they're firing in all weird ways. You know, I heard 8 were injured in gunshots, 1 killed. Am I hearing that?
Yeah, multiple gunshots. To your point, there was 3,000 teens in Briar Creek, and then around 5,000 on Glenwood South. So there could have been some overlap with the same crews. But yeah, multiple fights, shootings, injuries. I don't know. Multiple people got arrested. Obviously, they said 20 adults, which makes me think they were probably 18, 19-year-olds. But yeah, I mean, it hit so close to home. And then, you know, I saw the same thing happen in Pittsburgh and California. I mean, this isn't the first place. And it's, I don't know. Teenagers are probably the age of kids that always concern me the most, because we've all been there, and we're young, dumb, and you do some really stupid things when you're teenagers.
You know, like, look at the science of the brain, man. I mean, again, 25, quarter century, that's when that brain develops. Between the ages of puberty and 25, dude, we don't have the information on how the brain works. Like, we just have to go off evidence, and we see almost every teen acts out in some sort of way. When you put 8,000 kids, you know, in an area, you got to think, like, you're throwing all these teenagers out there. You're going to get your 18 to 24-year-olds out there to do whatever they're going to do out there. No, you know, you're not going to get every 18, 20 or every 20 to 24-year-old like, this is the teens' opportunity to speak up, you know, or whatever it is, you know. So you put that many kids out there. I had not heard of it leading up to it, and I've got a teenager. And but he never mentioned anything like this. But of course, it's going to lead to fights. Of course, it's going to lead to gunfire. You know, I honestly think that if this is something they wanted to do I don't know what the point of the teen takeover is. Do we know what the point is?
I
Is
understand
there
it's
like
just
a
kind
reason?
of this social media post goes out. They kind of, hey, we're all going to be in this place, and it's kind of like, hey, it's just I don't know. It kind of grows from that to all these teams gathering in the same area, is my understanding. I don't know if there's really a
With no
purpose.
purpose, right? That yeah, that's
Which obviously, I mean, I growing up in West Virginia, man. I mean, you knew when you'd go to certain keg parties and there was going to be more than 100 people, like there was 100% going to be a fight. Now you're talking
one hundred
thousands. I
percent.
mean,
So
do you think
there
it's
are.
reasonable? Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. I was gonna say there are personalities that feel obligated to start that ruckus. You know what I'm saying? Like
Hmm.
not everybody's raised the same way, the right way. You know, whether there is no right or wrong way, but a moral way or a good way where you have built trust and you can trust them to go out there. You can trust them to tell you where they're going. Accurately. Um, so yeah, I mean, dude, you just you. I've been, like I've been in so many parties. Even as adults, man, it's like even into my 30s, like it's like you go to a party, like there's gonna be animosity. You throw 8,000 teens, if it's whatever if that's what they did, of course
Yeah.
there was gonna be something that went down. I'm curious to know how it was staffed by the police. How they took it. I'm sure they did the best they could while they were out there, but that's a lot, dude. I've got one,
Yeah,
and
I
I
think the
can't.
Briar Creek was revolving around the firework. I think the fireworks were going on in Briar Creek when that
Yeah,
one at least happened, and then obviously Glenwood South, for those who don't know or not local, obviously that's where all of our bars are located on that one strip of Glenwood South. So I think it just was holiday weekend fireworks. I think in Briar Creek, and then it was just kind of hey, the party's moving downtown where all the bars are. I mean, is it reasonable to ask like where are the parents at? I mean, I
yeah,
don't have a
yeah,
teenager, so
yeah,
this is
yeah. I mean, 8,000 teens. I'm curious. That's a lot, I guess. Trying to think. What our population would be, what it was in other cities. Yeah, dude, you got to know, man. Like that. My son tells me exactly where he's going, and maybe I'm missing it. Maybe he's not, but I can track him, but I also trust him. Um, and you got to ask questions. You just got to try and relate. It's hard. It's hard to explain. Unless I've got an example in front of me. But yeah, where are they? What were they? Just curious. Like what were they told? Um, it seems like a lot of parents in the dark. It seems like a lot of miscommunication or possibly lack of communication. So yeah, I mean that's definitely something. Where the hell are your parents?
yeah.
What are you doing out here?
Question: Would
What's the reason? Yeah.
would you rather have a teenager that's kind of afraid to break the rules, or one that's going to be calling you, hey, at midnight, hey, Dad, I messed up, I made a mistake? Because I feel like the way I've seen you, you're the only one with a teenager between the two of us, but I feel like with Repeat, I feel like he would be the type of kid that would call his dad, hey, Dad, I'm in a spot where I shouldn't be. Which would
Mm.
you prefer? I mean, would you rather have the kid, hey,
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
going to break any rules, or would you rather be like, hey, I might have got in this dicey situation, can you come get me type thing?
Nah, I would rather have the latter because kid that's not going to break any rules is going to break rules. Even if it's not their intention, and it's not always them. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about the groups you're in. So I talk to my son. I tell him stories like what he's at a time where I remember being a 14-year-old kid. Um, and I'll tell him stories. I was doing this by your age and this and that. And when I share these stories, he's just kind of like, wow. But you know what? Like, I double down and let him know that like you are not, I don't want you to follow in the same footsteps as me. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you this stuff because these were kind of mistakes in hindsight. I wish I put my energy other places. So I would most certainly have. I mean, isn't that what all the parents say? Like you hear it all the time. If I always tell them, if they're ever, I'd rather them call me drunk and wasted here and there. Like, yeah, you say that, like, how real are you going to be? Are you going to flip out on them when you told them this is what you wanted them to do? Because if you do that on the first time, they're not calling you again. You know what I'm saying? But if you
Mm-hmm.
get them out of the situation, you treat them, again, I've built a lot of trust with Repeat. Um, you know, he's going to be honest with me in the end, and I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, I tell him, hey, look, dude, like I would be so stupid if I thought that you weren't going to be around, pot or or if you were at a party in high school and somebody has some booze. And nowadays it's different. Like you got these vapes and you've got all sorts of other different designer drugs. Um, but yeah, I would much rather have the kid. But I also know it's important for me to be the dad that is going to say, hey, man, if you're ever in some shit, give me a call. I promise I would rather you do that. And then when I show up to do it, I'm not grilling him. I'm saying, thank you, man. Thank you for calling me, dude. Thank you for calling me. Let's get you home. You want some McDonald's? Let's get you home. I'm going to bust your balls tomorrow, but we're going to talk about this. All right. But I'm glad you did what I asked you to do. You called me. Let's go end this night together safely together. Right. And, so it works both ways. You gotta do what you say you're going to do, in my opinion, if you say, I'd be much happier if you did that, because dude, you don't want the kid that's not going to break any rules. A, you don't want the kid that's not going to break any rules, but B, they're all going to break rules, so, but yeah, easy answer.
Yeah.
How about you, man?
I tend to agree with you. I mean, obviously, I'm quite a ways from that stage. So, I mean, for those listening too, we'd love to hear how do you work with your teenagers? Well, tell us some stories in the comments.
Please.
Obviously, like and subscribe as well. But no, seriously, share some stories for any of those listening. But yeah, I mean, I think I think that's kind of a great segue into dad advice because, what I was thinking about is the story doesn't really revolve around how your kids are 16 or 17. I feel like it goes back to that relationship, how you just mentioned with Repeat, how you guys talk now. I don't, and I've seen you guys interact. I have no doubt he's going to be the one that calls you. And to your point, I agree 100%. Like, if you're going to be the dad that's like, call me when something's wrong and I'm going to be there, you can't lose your mind right then. It needs to be, I'm going to get you home safely. We're going to talk about this tomorrow. That's kind of my thought now. I mean, mine might change by the time my kids are making these mistakes, but I think it all goes back to the relationship we have now and what we've built up. So, I guess the question I wanted to ask kind of for dad advice this week is, what can we do now while our kids are younger to make sure that they're going to communicate kind of when the stakes get higher, when things are going on. And like I said, I feel like you've built that with Repeat. Obviously you have two others. I have two little ones. Like what should we, or what could we be doing? And obviously our listeners would love to hear if they have any dad advice for us. But what's your thoughts on that, on what you can do now to make sure you're getting that phone call when they're 16 and 17 and at a teen takeover that goes haywire or whatever it may be?
I would say, quick answer, build trust. How do you do that? There's a million ways, right? And a lot of it has to do with the parent. We got to watch it. What I've done with Pete is, he was my first of three, right? The girls owe him because I figured out which battles to fight before they got here, for the most part. Now I got new battles, but building trust. And the way I did that was, I don't raise my voice a ton. That's not how I learn. That's not how I absorb, constructive criticism, because I don't take it constructively when somebody's yelling it in my face. So, as he made mistakes over time, going back, remembering where I came from, and also remembering that these kids don't know anything, man. Like, you've got to teach them. You've got to teach them to wipe their butt. You got to teach them how to dry their hands without getting water or wash their hands without getting water and soap everywhere, pulling 4 towels off. That was my most recent lesson. But you've got to show them how to do things the right way. And when they don't get it right, you got to be careful when yelling. You know what? You're setting a bad example, in my opinion, when you go off, because you're going to be inconsistent with what you're getting angry about. So if you can start everything with more of a conversation, I think, hey, dude, I'm going to be on, and it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice, right? It takes a lot of self-reflection. But if you can really, take note of what, the things you've had to repeat yourself, and it's a billion things, right? But the important ones, those lessons that you're really trying to hammer home, you need to progress in the way you approach them. And sometimes as you progress, so like, for example, Pete, he'd make a mistake and I would tell him, this is wrong, this is why, and this could be the outcome, right? That's another big thing, like, hey, I'm going to tell you the wildest outcome that is total reality, like, and you can do it. Anybody can do it if you've been there, but it's building trust from a young age. It's dude, pump the brakes on the yelling. If you were yelled at as a parent, or if you as a parent were yelled at as a child, did it work? That's all I'm going to ask. Like, start slow. There are things that we got to yell about. Like, there are some things I raise my voice about. I don't do it often, but I always start the conversation. It's got to be a progressive thing. And then that is literally, it's as simple as that to build trust. Because then when you start having more conversations, start coming to you before the mistake is made, they're unsure about how, so to me, like, I have a much easier way, like, when you scream and yell, you don't look like a badass. You don't look tough. You don't look like you know everything. You look like you fucking, excuse my language, you got nothing left. All you have is to raise your voice and put fear. Do you want your kids to fear you? Your kids, if they fear you, they're never gonna tell you anything, because if they fear you and they tell you and you showing them the reason why they fear you, it's going to be the exact same as when they break the rules, and it's going to be the exact same response by you. But if you ease into it, you have to ease into it. That's how I did it, man. Having conversations is it, and being real, and also, exposing your kids to these things. Like, I don't care if my kid is 10 years old. I'll show them an R-rated movie. Obviously, I know what it is before, but I would rather expose these kids to everything myself, because they're going to be exposed to it, especially with these computers in our pockets and the influence we have at school now. They're going to see it all, man. Nothing is hidden from them, because every parent's not, like, so I talk about crazy ass videos that Pete sees on, online. Like, we'll talk about it. Obviously there are some things that we haven't, but we've talked about everything. We've talked about drugs, we've talked about sex, we've talked about alcohol, we talk about, everything. And when you just do it, it's not weird. It was weird because our parents made it weird. But if you're just like, yo, bro, like, yeah, your life's gonna, you're going to start picking up. Like, you're going to want to try different things. You're going to want to be doing different things. Your personality is going to pull you into those, and the influence around you is going to, give it what it needs. And, and I think over the years, especially in the last 10, just have an open conversation. I mean, that is how you build trust. Starting slow, realizing, okay, I'm not doing everything wrong. This is what your kid's going to think, that they're not doing everything wrong. Because if you just holler at them, trust me, I know firsthand, family, like, if you just holler at them, they're going to feel no good. They're going to feel like they can't do anything right, and it'd be better if they just didn't try, because they know they're going to lose, or whatever it is. So, obviously encourage. I mean, I've learned over time to be a little more gentler. I can certainly, get loud, but I don't need to.
Yeah.
That's it, man.
I'd agree. I think I talk about this a lot, but I think in any relationship, whether it be, with your significant other, whether it be work, whether it be with your kids, it all comes down to communication. I think we've talked about this a few times. I think that's just the key to anything in life, is being able to communicate. And I'm the same way. And I've tried to, especially when my oldest started kindergarten, would lay in bed with him at night and, we'd read a story or whatever he wanted, but then like, hey, now how's your day? And I'm trying to build this up. And again, my kids are younger, so we'll see how this transpires over the years, but of just laying down and talking about it. So-and-so got in trouble again today. Like, what did he do to get in trouble again? And like, my son, he's a good kid. He would, so-and-so got in trouble again. And like, and he started opening up, and then I started catching on the playground gossip. And, who did you play with today? Like, how did that make you feel? So me personally, I know we do this very similar because this is what led to the fatherhood in general and why we're here today talking, that we are very much on the same page. But
Yeah.
I agree. I think it's just communicating early. I want them to be able to talk about anything with me. Love my parents, love my dad. My dad, he coached sport 50 years. He was gone quite often. Loved my dad, but there was a lot of times that I just never really got to sit down and talk to my dad. And I think as life went on, we do communicate much better now. We talk, weekly after every Steeler game, et cetera. So, but there was years that went by that I just, we didn't really talk, and I regret that looking back at it. But it kind of goes back to, and I'm not even blaming him, but when I was smaller, like he just wasn't around to have those conversations. He'd get home late at night, I'd be in bed, et cetera. So I think I'm trying to just, kind of reverse that and making sure I'm always having those conversations early and often, making sure that they feel comfortable. And it's not that because I did at times feel uncomfortable maybe going to my dad when some stuff hit the fan. It was just easier for me to bottle it up because I didn't, he didn't know how he may react. We didn't have that type of relationship where we could just, because he was also my teacher. He was also my soccer coach in high school. So like, I couldn't be like, man, can't believe what happened today. You should have seen it. Like, so anyway, but no, I agree. I think we're on the same page with that. But I think talking about it early and often.
Yeah, so let him do a couple things that are outside your comfort zone as a parent. Like that's another way to really build trust. You gotta slowly but surely you start putting a little bit. You can go this far. You can go this far. Now you can go this far. Okay, like that's loosen up. Don't take it so seriously. That's my advice for all new parents. Hey man, don't take it too seriously. Have fun, because you're fine.
I agree.
We're fine. I'm fine.
I mean, we're all just kind of learning this on the fly. I think
Dude,
I've learned that over the years. Like when you're a kid, you're like, man, these adults really have it together. They really know what's going on. They're adults. And then when you become an adult, you realize everyone's just winging it in this whole world right now. Like
those people were full of it, man. I thought they were pros, dude. Yeah. And now it's like, man, what are you doing? Like, hold up.
I mean, Connor was like, man, Dad, how do you know all these things? And I'm like, man, like I'm over here just winging it, man. Like, I don't know. But I think that's another good segue.
That's the only way to do it. It's the only way to do anything.
Jumping into a little real talk. This is always a fun, but the question I was kind of thinking today, Pete, is, and I think this one hits home for me, obviously kind of in between jobs right now and kind of figuring that out. But do dads put too much pressure on getting everything right? Because I feel like I do, but I wanted to get your thoughts on if you think, is there so much pressure to be the perfect dad? Because I feel like there is, and I think a lot of that's probably self-pressure, I guess. I don't know if there's a term for that.
Why do you think that there's self-pressure? Why do you think dads feel like there's pressure that they put on themselves?
I don't know. I don't know if this comes.
Yeah. Social media, like, dude, everybody's comparing everybody. Even if you're not on social media, I'm not doing good enough because I'm not taking my family on that vacation, or I'm not doing good enough because I'm not posting pictures from gymnastics. Like whatever it is. I mean, dude, yeah, I would say there is. I would say, but pressure comes from a lot of different. Every marriage is different. You've got dudes, different friend circles. There's so many dynamics, but pressure from a personal standpoint, yeah, I think dads put a lot of pressure on themselves. You want to be the freaking hero, man. And you can do it with a whole lot less, and you can do it by being more open, I think, and exposing your vulnerabilities, I think. But yeah, I think there's a lot of pressure put on. I certainly know I had a ton of pressure, the last couple of years of my marriage, man. I found out a lot of that pressure was unnecessary, very unnecessary, but pressure makes diamonds, dude. And the way to take the pressure off yourself is simplify. I would say, like, simplify your life, dude. I know you want to go and do all these things, you want to go out, you've got pressure at work because you might want to spend time with your kids. You got pressure with your kids because you're working. And then you're putting more pressure on all of it because you want to make sure you're going out for this thing and that thing. Hey man, I think I mentioned this in our episode that never happened, but you're looking back on 43 years, and then looking on the next 43, like, dude, there's plenty of time to do everything. I feel like I have already done everything. And that was in 25 years. We've got that left, and it's going to be more enjoyable. When we have the people we love, when we have these kids that we've cultured and created to be awesome road dogs and to be awesome, friends, you know what I'm saying? As they grow and they look out for us and they want our company, so there is definitely a lot of pressure. I guess how I handled it would be just try to simplify it, man. What are your priorities, dude? Right? Mine is being, I don't want to ever say, I wish I spent more time. And I don't ever want to be responsible for my kids not having a roof over their head. So I work my butt off and I spend as much time with them as I can. This is all this will all change. I will have freedom again. My kids will gain more freedom. I'm going to move forward financially because all I'm doing is focusing on the priorities. So when I do want to go back and do all these wild and fun and crazy things in life, I'll be good. I'll be set. I'll be in a much better place. And so if I could reach out, if I could touch anybody, I'd be like, hey man, put some of those extracurriculars aside. They will be there. They will be there. Focus on your priorities. And I'm not saying it has to be work and children, but find out what's important to you. Focus on a couple. Focus on a few. And then, try if you get some free time, try to entertain some of that other stuff, but don't entertain what anybody else is doing, because whatever you're seeing online, it ain't real. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not, especially if it's excessive, there's no way. And, this is common knowledge now, but stop comparing yourself to other people, man. The only people that you should be out to impress are your kids. And I say it again, man, these are the kids that are going to be wiping our asses later on in life. I want to have good company when I'm gone, or when I'm on my way out. So, dude, I am just here to show my kids that I'm a hard worker and I'm doing it for them. And you know what? It's all going to pay off in their work ethic, in the relationship with me, and in the future. So take the stress off yourself. It's a real thing, though, and it's okay that you're going through it. But
I think you break a good point up. And I mean, we could talk about social media in a variety of ways, but again, you're always looking at the highlights of other people's lives, and it's just naturally easy to compare. Because I had people, reach out to my parents like, oh my gosh, like Chad goes to every concert, every game. And I probably, there for a while, it might have been 1 or 2 a month. But again, when you only know that, you don't see the 2 weeks where I was working my ass off at work and getting slammed and, changing diapers or whatever it is, you just see that highlight of me just having a blast at a concert or a sporting event. And so I do think that's very real. And I do think there's just something genetic about being a dad. I've talked about it before. I feel like there's a switch that flips, and it's just, 100%. You just look at almost everything differently. So I just think naturally, I think it has a lot to do for me is seeing my wife, obviously, give birth, have that body transformation, kind of go through that. As guys, we're sitting there and dad's like, man, okay, it didn't really get real to me until I'm holding my son for the first time. And I think that is a big piece of okay, she did all this, and then my wife, bless her heart, stay-at-home mom, hardest job in the world. Just to watch her do what it was. So I think as a dad, you're like, well, I need to be the best version of me to not only provide, but to do this. So I think some of that's just hey, that's your role. This is my role. I do think the social media, I think maybe how we were brought up, I think, with us being born in the 80s, I think it was a different world back then where it was
totally different world.
Moms did this, dads did this. And I think we're trying to fit that mold, but we're also trying to break that mold or stretch that mold to fit how we want to do it, which is completely different than how, and again, I talked about my dad. Yeah. He learned it from his dad. It was a different time. It was just different, different philosophies.
And if in this day and age, everything has to be right away, you gotta be the best dad ever. I'm going to tell you what, man, when I became a dad, I think all 3 times, I think I took a step back. Like there's a whatever chemical reaction is happening in your brain. Like, it's almost like, well, this is it for me. Like I'm going to go ahead and do, one last time. So fatherhood, the beginning of fatherhood, certainly, like, you need to give yourself some grace. You need to give yourself some time, because, and moms, listen to this too. Like this is a real thing. Like, I guess I can only compare it to like the beginning of fatherhood being, kind of a hill, and you go get up that hill. You're gonna start to fall back. You're gonna take some hits in the first couple of years of parenting where you're like, I can't. This isn't. I screwed up. I shouldn't have done this. This isn't for me. But I think that happened with me for every kid. And the way you just got to get up over that hill. You'll start to figure everything out. You're learning so much, right? We talked about winging it as a parent, dude. You've got to learn it all. Like you've just thrown a wrench in all your gears. I don't give a damn how prepared you were, how many classes you went to, but you've got to give yourself some grace, because you are going to take a step back. I'm telling you. And it could be anxiety, depression, feeling of inadequacy, or just, your personal wants and needs. Like you're going to screw up, and you got to get up. You can't quit. And obviously I'm not saying quit in the sense of like, all right, I'm done. Like nobody has that option. I mean, but you've got to know that, hey, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. Once I get up over this hill, I'm going to see the sunrise. You know what I'm saying? Because right now I can't. You'll get there. That's the thing is, but the reason I make that point is because if you're not doing all sorts of fun, great things, postable, shareable BS right away, like, dude, you're good without it. But be like, you have so much to learn that you don't know you need to learn yet. And you need to understand that going into it. And you don't think like you know everything, because you don't. I certainly don't. I don't know jack, and I've been a dad for almost 15 years. Like, I still don't know nothing, but I'm learning, and I know as much as I know, and I know my kids can look up to me. So
that's our whole tagline. Better every day.
Grace, man. Give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. Moms too. Like, you're going to take a step back, but don't play like you're perfect. But, just be open communication and help each other out. And that's the goal. So take the pressure off a little bit. It can be done.
I say that about life, say that about parenting, fatherhood, and work. Just get a little bit better every day. That 1% better. I mean, I know it's cliche, but it's very true. Sure. And I think go from there. So that being said, let's one of my favorite screenshots, getting us over to a little bit of we got always in on our sports corner with our lovely AI four-seamer that we got over here. The funniest part is
movement on that ball, bro.
I mean, that thing is it is a sight to be seen. That AI baseball never gets old. But sports corner is one of our favorites. What's that? I mean, that should definitely be the tagline of our show, is the four-seamer. Just seems flying everywhere for those listening and maybe can't see the AI baseball.
Flying everywhere.
But no, sports corner always fun to kind of see what's on. Like I said, I think as we progress towards football season, there's going to be a lot more to talk about. Obviously sponsored by Raleigh Hobby Family. Come check us out. Oh, go ahead.
I want to say Raleighwood Hobby Family, good call on Lamini Mall, dude. You brought it up, and the only name you're hearing when Spain's on, dude. And so that was pretty cool. I was like, wonder what that card's worth now, Chad.
Yeah. So Lamini Mall car I shared before, I still have posted on eBay for about $750 for those who want. I think there was a recent one sold a little bit about $500. I'm just not in a hurry to sell it. So I'll gladly just keep it out there for $750. Honestly, it might end up getting taken down. I have another one that was a very similar card that's a little less populated that also. But yeah, Lamini Mall's been, I mean, the World Cup just does not disappoint. I mean, it has been, and maybe it's just recency bias, but I would argue it's maybe one of the best sporting events this year specifically that I've ever been a part of. I mean, there's been almost 40 goals that have happened after the 90th minute. I mean, just drama in every game. I mean, the two semifinals, you had Spain
Argentina playing 12 collective minutes of good good football.
I
like
mean, you just can't
winning
count
all of
them
them.
out. And
You can't.
yeah, I mean, you can't count them out. I mean, the one thing about Argentina that I think people kind of forget is obviously Messi's a superstar. The guy is the best player in soccer. He has been for a while. He might still be for another while because the guy hasn't slowed down. But these guys that are playing with him grew up. Lionel Messi is their idol. He is their god. I mean, and I'm not even saying that lightly because in a lot of other countries, we have football, we got basketball, we got baseball. I got favorite players in all of these different sports, but these other countries, everything is around soccer. And they literally have all grown up as Messi. I mean, what's he, 38, 39 now? And they've all grown up watching him, and that was their favorite player. That was their hero. And now they're playing on a world, potentially probably his last World Cup, you would assume. And now they have a chance to go out, let him go out on top. I mean, it's just incredible to watch. And we were sitting there watching that game, and you saw them just unloading their bench with firepower. And obviously they were still down 1-0. And I was like, man, they got a lot of offense on the field. And you kind of felt impressed. And then when they scored that goal, I looked at my wife and my son, and I said, Argentina's, that was in the 85th minute. I was like, they're going to win this game in regulation. Like, I have zero doubts because England had subbed out their team. They had all defense on the field.
They were playing back the same way they were played against Mexico.
They were playing prevent defense, which, in football, we know that kind of prevents you from winning typically. And then, sure enough, obviously they went ahead and got the go-ahead goal to move on. I mean, just an incredible game. I mean, Spain knocking. I mean, France could make 2 teams of 11 that would both be in like the World Cup semis. Like, that's how good their bench players are. Obviously, Spain's only given up 1 goal in the entire tournament. Randomly enough, it was a Belgium header, the same Belgium player that scored 2 headers against the United States. At least made me feel a little bit better. But that's the only goal Spain's given up the entire tournament.
6 clean sheets, right?
They've been incredible. So with that, that being said, first of all, I wish I had a picture of it. Now I need to go find it. Have you seen the picture of Messi holding baby Yamal? Have you seen this picture? I'm going to have to find it before we.
No, dude.
So when Messi was playing for Barcelona for a long time, that's where Yamal is from, Barcelona.
Right.
There's an annual tradition of calendars that you could, enter this drawing to have your kid get a picture taken with a guy in Barcelona. So randomly, Lamine Yamal's mother wins the raffle drawing. She, baby Yamal, they take him to Barcelona, and Messi's holding this baby, had never held a baby in his life. So the first baby he ever held in his hands is Lamine Yamal. I mean, you can't even make this up, dude. And I got to find the picture now because it is
bananas.
And so, there's just this baby picture of Messi holding Yamal as a baby, which it feels like his, maybe his superpowers.
That's crazy.
Kind of transferred over.
What do you think? Mom holds this picture in front of him like, it's your destiny.
I mean, it is crazy. Hold on, I found it.
That is so random.
I got to get this thing on the screen now just because it is so ridiculous. I do got it. Hold on, let me snap it and get it over here.
Baby Yamal.
But I mean, just the storyline.
Baby Lamine.
I mean, just the storylines coming in
crazy
to this game. You have kind of the future. I mean, so Lamine Yamal started playing professional soccer for Barcelona, obviously, because that's where he was from. He started playing when he was 15 years old. 15, he was playing professional soccer. I mean, just incredible. Where'd this go? There we go. It should be
Show me baby up. Lamine.
Yeah, look at this.
I thought. Whoa, that's way different than I thought.
Yeah, bro. I mean, it is just.
I wasn't going to see feet in the picture.
So I was just reading the story. Messi just walked, and so this obviously, I mean, this would have been.
Hold up.
I mean, so let's see. That had been 17 years ago. So you're talking Messi was 20 years old at the time. and he was just walking through the locker room. They're like, "Hey, you got to take a picture with a kid." He walked into some room and they got this baby in this weird plastic tub thing.
I don't think they told him he had to take a picture with the baby. They're like, "Will you wash this child? Will you wash this child?" I mean, he's got his hands covered in soap.
I mean, there's some others that has Jamal's mother in it too, but I mean, you're going to see this picture. They're going to talk about.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, but I got to see. Was it a whole photo shoot or like?
Yeah, so it was like an annual tradition that they do, like a calendar thing, and you had to enter this raffle. So your kid, they took a picture with kids. I don't think they were all babies, but in this case it was. And now you're looking at.
Is it just Messi for every month, or is it like?
I think it was the whole Barcelona team, and Messi was kind of new to the team. Messi wasn't even a superstar back then. You got to think, I mean, he was good, but he was probably 20 years old. Obviously, no one knew what he would now become. Almost 20 years later. I mean, Jamal just turned 19 last week, so. He turned 19 in the middle of the World Cup, but just an incredible photo of maybe the greatest soccer player of all time bathing.
Might be the greatest.
Next greatest soccer player of all time.
That is just, it's endearing. It's adorable. It's weird. I don't know. But he was definitely had to, my advice for Messi back then would have been make sure you get between those folds, like behind the knee, dude. And get that build up.
Oh, yeah.
Don't be afraid to scrub your toes, man.
That's great.
That's really strange.
So with that being said,
that is not the picture I expected.
I don't know if you've watched as much, but obviously you're familiar with what's going on. Who is your pick to bring home the World Cup between Lamine Yamal, the 19-year-old phenom, Spain, who's given up one goal the entire tournament, or Argentina, who has Messi and likely his last World Cup, back defending champions, and also, like I said, you got guys on this team that are fighting for their childhood hero to bring him one last World Cup and be back-to-back champions. Who do you think wins this game?
All right, so last night I played FC 27. I played the World Cup game between my buddy Gabe, my neighbor who's in town from Vegas, and I was Spain, he was Argentina. And I guess, outside of United States, Mexico, Norway this year, Spain is always the country. My mother grew up there. And I won 1-0. And so I think Spain's going to do it. Reason being is we have seen Argentina's got legs. They can play long. They can play the whole game. They can outlast you. But I think they, England, if they had not played prevent, right, I think they would probably win, had to be a little bit more aggressive. Spain's not going to let back like that. Spain's not going to drop back. They've got a good midfield. They've got a good defense. They've let up only one goal. I think they want to preserve that. But Spain has got their hands full. Argentina's got their hands full with España, and I think Spain's going to pull it out. And but Messi is going down as one of the greatest, if not the GOAT. And this will be a really cool passing of the torch. 1-0 Spain.
Yeah, I've been boggling my mind on this one because it's just an incredible matchup. You have the Copa America champions, so that's the South American tournament. USA got to play in it because we were hosting the World Cup, et cetera. But that's typically a South American tournament, and then you have the European Championship. These tournaments happen in the 2 years in between the World Cups. Obviously, right. Spain won the Euros, Argentina won the Copa. So you're literally talking two of the regional champions. We've had quite the debate with my 6-year-old, who is one of the most obsessive soccer fans out of nowhere. Now that he's watched the World Cup, he's out here telling me who's on what club team and asking if we can watch club league soccer. And the kid, but we've been cheering so hard for Messi because that's the first player he knew, because all the kindergartners love Messi. Everybody knows Messi. But then he's, I've gotten him kind of hooked on Yamal. We play with both of them on the video games. We've been rooting for both of them. We were rooting for both of them to make it to this. Now we're just torn, which way do we go? I picked Spain to win the tournament before this thing started, so I got to stick with that. I think ultimately, I think they're the best team. It's not busted. I think they ultimately probably get it done, but I agree. I think this thing, take the under. I don't know if you're familiar with betting terms, Pete, but typically in a soccer game, you can bet over under, it's mostly 2.5. So 2.5 is kind of that. And sometimes it'll float to 2. I've seen some 3s, even 3.5. I'm sure that third place game with France and England, since it won't mean anything, will probably be a 3.5.
All the dudes in my life are gamblers. I am the only one that's not. I am the only outlier. I can't. I win every bet I don't make, though, and you guys believe me on that. So I mean, I can certainly can't wait for football to start rolling around. But
we get into football. So, we'll talk a little more gambling, but I'm assuming that's going to be an over. So I would say an under 2.5 goals for the entire game, and that doesn't count extra time, penalty kicks. That's strictly that first 90 minutes when you're betting soccer. I think it would be a very strong under. I can't imagine either teams. I mean, unless there's kind of a fluky goal early and it just kind of opens up the whole game. But I mean, again, Spain's gave up 1 goal the entire tournament. Argentina, a little weak on the back end. I do think Yamal's going to score. That's also a wager that I may look into.
Yeah, I don't think he's gonna. I don't think
no.
No.
He got one when that first full game he played. He kind of shot the first game of the tournament, and then he got one. I feel like it's time. I just think Argentina can be beat in the back, but again, you just can't count them out. I mean, they're going to keep coming at you until. I think it's going to be an incredible game. I can't wait till Sunday. That's going to be phenomenal.
That was a reverse jinx, I mean.
I mean, I hope he scores. I got these rookie cards over my shoulder that sure could help pay some bills.
Okay.
Blows it up, but also may not want to get rid of them. I mean,
just one. Just one goal because I predicted 1-0 Lamine Yamal. Okay, we'll both be good.
So I know we're well over on time, so I'm going to cut this super short. But I did bring one sports card for you today. I'm going to the Tidewater presents Christmas in July card show here in Raleigh, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Probably be there at least 2 of those days. But we were cracking some packs. I got a pre-order of the new Topps Chrome Black football. And each of these boxes comes with 2 packs of cards, but then it comes with 1 encased card, which is an autographed card. And I got this gentleman who you should definitely be familiar for. That my light is.
Is that Cameron Scatterboo?
It is Mr. Scatterboo.
I was Ahmad Bradshaw.
I don't know if you can see that audit, but look at that. He just writes scat. He just writes scat on there.
For a second there, it looked like Ahmad Bradshaw there. I've got a bunch of his. My hairdresser is one of his best friends, Ahmad Bradshaw. He signed a bunch of stuff.
I have not heard that name in quite some time.
Yeah, Super Bowl champion, Ahmad Bradshaw.
But was very excited that the wife pulled the scat autographed rookie card that was already encased. So it already comes in this nice little magnetic one-touch type thing. So you kind of get it. You can't.
And is that a box you bought or a pack? Can you buy
this? Was considered is considered what they call a hobby box, but this was 13 total cards. They run about $350 for said cards, but you're guaranteed that 1 card autographed. Unfortunately, I got 2 boxes, and my second card was a Chase Brown autograph from the Bengals, not a rookie, just a random old running back. Not a bad guy, but I'm a
fan of that.
Yeah, I'm not. It is numbered to 99. I do think Chase Brown's a heck of a running back, but he played at Oregon. Great running back. I mean, if he wasn't a Bengal, I'd probably root for him. He'd probably be on one of my fantasy teams. But unfortunately, we don't roll like that with the FC North. But no, I had to at least share my scat card. I actually had a great Jackson Dart card for you. But
how much you want for the scat card? We'll talk.
Let's talk offline on that. I was actually planning on posting that on eBay this weekend. We just cracked those packs a couple of days ago. I haven't had a chance to take the pictures and get that posted. But again, go check out Raleighwood Hobby Family on eBay. We got a bunch of stuff going on. We got a few others popping up soon. So I know we're well over time. This might be our longest episode ever, but I think this was maybe the most fun episode ever we had. I think was a good time. I guess just in closing, with everything we talked about today, when it comes to being a dad, what's the one thing you hope your kids will always feel comfortable to you, like coming to you about?
The personal life, the things that are uncomfortable about. And I know Repeat is not afraid to get out of his comfort zone and talk to me. I've got 2 little girls too. And, I'm going to do my best to build that trust and, I want to know about your personal life. I'm never going to judge, man. I'm only going to help guide. That's my goal. Who am I to judge? So
yeah, I agree.
that'll be
Like I
it.
said,
That'll be it.
I think building that trust early. I think I want to be that guy that, hey, if something goes off the rail, I don't want them to call their buddy. Hey, I got arrested. Because
Right.
when I got arrested, the one time I got arrested, we can get into that on another episode. I'm calling my best friend.
Just once.
I wanted to, just once.
Good boy.
But yeah, I want to be that phone call. I don't want them to call their buddy and then their buddy comes and gets them out of jail or whatever it may be. Or like, hopefully we catch it before it ends up.
Do you think you've got a good plan to become that person? Do you think like you feel good and confident in yourself that, yeah, good. See, boom. I love that. That's the way you should feel.
I do, but I think again, I'm around like I said, the kids are a sponge, man. We're around them all the time, and I think just how you react to certain situations. Hopefully, they learn that from you just naturally. And yeah, no, I have confidence, and I think again, everything goes back for me to communication. My wife's probably tired of me talking about it, but communication. I mean, when you communicate things, I just think everything in life's just a little bit easier, a little bit better, and so many people's problems, in my opinion, are caused because they're holding feelings in. They're not saying it. Maybe some dude's maybe your wife's bothering you, but you're not saying anything about it until it builds up and you explode. Same thing with your kids, same thing with your boss, whatever it may be. But no, for sure. So yeah. I know we're well over time.
Well,
like I said, I just want to make sure we tell everybody to like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe, please.
We do apologize for the delay. I know we've had people texting us, hey, where's the show, man? You guys were getting going, but, we had to take some family vacations. We're back. We're going to be back doing this every week is the goal. I think that gives us more time to get some good stories to kind of share with you guys. So the goal is to get weekly. We're trying to get the schedule figured out, exact days as we get into football season. The goal is to have this a little more aligned. But I think that's all we got for today. We'll see you again next week.
Mad love, guys.